Hi guys, welcome to my channel. In this video, I will be covering complete unit for Jsp, that is Java server page in web technologies. In this video, I will explain each and every topic in detail. If you are watching this video for the first time, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. And friends, I have uploaded complete web technology tutorials. I will provide link in description, you can watch from there. Let's get started. At first, I will start with introduction to Jsp. Jsp stands for Java Server Pages. This is full form of Jsp. This Jsp is software technology that is used by software engineers in order to create dynamic web pages. Main use of this Jsp is to create dynamic web pages. What is meaning of this dynamic web pages? Web pages which are modifying frequently, which are getting updated day by day, is known as dynamic web pages. Web pages which are changing frequently is known as dynamic web pages. For example, if you consider some websites, they do not look same all the time. They are getting modified day by day. For example, that website looks in red color, but next day that same website looks in green color. And similarly, font size is large. Next day, font size is small. Websites which are getting modified day by day is known as dynamic web pages. Such dynamic web pages are created by Java server page. One of the major advantages of the Jsp is we can separate presentation logic from business logic. Business logic is very complicated to understand, whereas this presentation logic is easy to understand. So we can separate this both presentation logic and business logic in Jsp. But if you consider some other programming languages, we cannot separate this presentation logic and business logic. Both are combined. But whereas in Jsp, we can separate presentation logic and business logic. So this is one of the major advantages of Jsp. Jsps are released in the year 1999 by Sun Microsystems. Jsp is combination of Java code and HTML code, where we need to write Java code inside HTML. This is known as Jsp. Now I will write small program of Jsp. As I said before, Jsp is combination of HTML and Java code, where we need to write Java code inside HTML. So here open HTML tag, inside HTML tag open head tag. Inside head I am giving title as my Jsp. My Jsp is title which I have given. Close title tag, close head tag. Now open body tag. Inside body I am writing Java code. I am writing Java code as open bracket percentage out.println. Out.println is Java code that is used to generate output. Open bracket double quotations my first Jsp program. This is string which I have given, and we need to include double quotations for string character and semicolon percentage close bracket. This is program, Java program which I have written inside HTML. Similarly, close body tag and close HTML tag. So output is my first Jsp program. This is output for this program. This is first program of Jsp. When compared to Servlet, there are so many advantages in Jsp. See, these are the advantages of Jsp when compared to Servlet. First one is more functionalities. Jsp is extension to Servlet. So there are so many functionalities in Jsp when compared to Servlet. This is first advantage. And next advantage is easy to maintain. When compared to Servlet, maintaining Jsp page is very easy, because in Jsp we can separate presentation logic and business logic. But in Servlet, we cannot separate presentation logic and business logic. So when compared to Servlet, maintaining Jsp page is very easy. And third advantage is fast development. There is no need of recompiling and redeployment. So there is fast development in Jsp page. We can develop Jsp page very fastly when compared to Servlet. And last one is fourth advantage, that is less code than Servlet. When compared to Servlet, there is less code in Jsp. So this is fourth advantages of. These are the four advantages of Jsp when compared to Servlet. Next topic is Jsp Lifecycle. For example, if you consider human being also contain lifecycle. For example, we will born, we will grow up, we will go to school, and then we will go to college, we will do job, and then at last we will die. This entire process is known as life cycle. Same like human being, Jsp also contains life cycle. The entire process from creating Jsp to destroying Jsp, this entire process is known as life cycle. And this life cycle of Jsp is similar to life cycle of Servlet. Mainly there are three phases in life cycle of Jsp. First one is initialization phase. Next one is main logic, and third one is shutdown phase. In initialization phase, we will create Jsp. We will create Jsp by using Jsp init method. By using Jsp init method, we will create Jsp in initialization phase. And in next phase, that is in main logic, we will handle request. Whatever the requests that JSP will receive, JSP will provide response to those requests. That is, JSP will provide service to the requests. This is known as service method. By using JSP service method, we will handle HTTP request and response. And third one is shutdown phase. In shutdown phase, we will destroy this JSP. So we use JSP destroy method in order to destroy JSP. These are the three phases in JSP lifecycle. First phase is Jsp Initialization Phase. In this, we will create JSP. This is syntax. Public void Jsp init. Jsp init. Init stands for initialization. Inside this, we need to write initialization code. This is syntax of Jsp initialization. After Jsp initialization, next one is Jsp service. We also call this as Jsp execution. Whatever the HTTP request that Jsp has received, Jsp will provide response to those requests. Jsp will provide service to the request. This is known as service method. This is syntax of service method. Void Jsp service, HTTP servlet request and HTTP servlet response. The meaning of this code is whatever the request that JSP has received, JSP will provide response to those requests. This is meaning of this code. And inside this, we need to write servlet handling code. And last phase is JSP destroy. We also call this as JSP cleanup. After providing service to the request, we need to destroy our JSP. This is code in order to destroy JSP. Public void JSP destroy. This is method, JSP destroy method. Inside this, we need to write cleanup code. These are the three phases in JSP. Next topic is executing JSP code. In order to run our JSP program in system, we need two softwares. First one is JDK, that is Java Development Kit, and next one is Apache Tomcat Server. We need to install these two softwares in our system in order to run our JSP program. This is JSP program which I have written, and I am giving this JSP program name as hello.jsp, and you need to save this file. After saving this hello.jsp file, go to local disk C, and inside local disk C you will see folder called your Tomcat directory. Open this your Tomcat directory folder, and inside this Tomcat directory folder you will see one folder called web applications, the web apps. Open this web apps. Inside web apps, open JSP examples folder, and you need to paste this hello.jsp file inside this JSP examples folder. After saving hello.jsp file inside this location, next step is to run our Apache Tomcat server. In order to run Apache Tomcat server, open command prompt and enter startup inside command prompt, or else you can also open Apache Tomcat directly. This is how we can execute JSP program in our system. Next, architecture of JSP. We also call this architecture of JSP as JSP Processing. Both are same questions. Web server needs JSP container or JSP engine in order to process JSP pages. Whatever the request that was sent by JSP page, it was handled by JSP container. JSP container is responsible for handling request which was sent by JSP pages. As I said before, this is definition of JSP processing. The web server needs JSP engine or JSP container to process JSP pages, and this JSP container is responsible for taking request of JSP pages. This is definition of JSP processing. These are the phases that JSP page will follow. First one is translation of JSP page. In first phase, we will translate JSP page. After translation of JSP page, we will compile that JSP page. And third phase is class loading. In class loading phase, class loader loads class file. And fourth one is instantiation. In instantiation phase, objects of generic servlet is created. Fifth phase is initialization. In initialization phase, container calls init method. And sixth phase is request processing. In request processing phase, container calls service method, and at last destroy phase. In destroy phase, container calls destroy method. These three phases, initialization, request processing, destroy, these three phases are known as lifecycle of JSP. As I already discussed lifecycle of JSP, in lifecycle of JSP contains init method, service method and destroy method. As I already discussed this. Whenever client send request which is in the form of JSP page, we will convert this JSP page into servlet by using JSP translator. After converting JSP page into servlet, we will compile this servlet. By using compiler, we will compile this servlet. After compiling, servlet is converted into class file. And after that, we will execute this class file and send response to client. This is structure of JSP architecture. Next topic is cookies and sessions in JSP. At first, I will start with cookies in JSP. Cookies are nothing but they are small text files that are stored in user's computer. This is known as cookies. For example, if there is an user, he opened particular website in internet. That website contains username and password. This person entered username and password and he clicked on login. Once he clicked on login, it will ask for remember. If this person click on remember, then cookies are created in his system. Clicking on remember is nothing but this person is setting cookies in his system. This is known as cookies. Cookies are small text files that are stored in user's system. These are classified into two types. First one is persistent cookies and next one is session cookies. We call these persistent cookies as permanent cookies and session cookies as temporary cookies. The name itself says permanent cookies. Permanent cookies mean cookies that are stored in user system until user delete them is known as permanent cookies. Cookies are stored in user system until user delete them is known as permanent cookies. And next one is temporary cookies. Whenever user close session or user close browser, then cookies are deleted. Whenever user close browser, immediately cookies are deleted. This is known as temporary cookies. So I will explain structure of cookies. Whenever user send request to server, then server will provide response plus cookies. Request is nothing but user will enter username and password and then he will click on remember. After clicking on remember, he will log into the server. Clicking on remember is nothing but we are setting cookies there. So server will provide response as well as cookies. And next time user will send request plus cookies. This is structure of cookies. Three steps involved in order to create cookies in JSP. First one is creating cookie object. Next one is set maximum age and third one is HTTP response. These are the three steps involved in order to create cookies in JSP. Next, sessions in JSP. For example, I open one website, I accessed that website and then I closed that website. This entire process is known as session. The meaning of session is particular interval of time. We call session as particular interval of time. Both cookies and sessions are interrelated to each other, but only difference is that in cookies, text files are stored in user system, but whereas in session, text files are stored in server. This is only difference between cookies and sessions. We all know HTTP is stateless protocol. That means each request is treated as new request. For example, if you see this diagram, whenever client send request, server provide response to the request. Next time, whenever the same user send request again, this request is treated as new request. So HTTP is stateless protocol. That means each request is treated as new request. So in order to maintain state, we need sessions. There are four techniques that are used in session tracking. First one is cookies, as I already discussed cookies. Next one is hidden form fields. Third one is URL rewriting. And at last fourth one is HTTP session objects. These are the four techniques that are used for session tracking. Next topic is connecting to database in JSP. How we can connect both database and JSP. As we all know, the use of database is to store and retrieve information. We can store huge amount of data in database, that too in GB, in gigabytes. In order to connect our database in JSP, we need to install three softwares in our system. First one is Tomcat Web Server and next one is MySQL Server and third one is JDK, that is Java Development Kit. We need to install these three softwares in our system in order to connect our database in JSP. There are two steps involved in order to connect JSP with database. In step 1, we need to create database. So open MySQL server and inside MySQL you need to write this command, create database students. The meaning of this command is I am creating database, that database name is students. After creating database students, next open MySQL and type this command, use students. That means I am using this database students. After that, type this command, MySQL create table, student table. The meaning of this command is, inside database students, I am creating one table. That table name is student table. Next, open bracket and write this command, rule number int 4 not null auto increment. The meaning of this command is, student table contains rule number. Rule number should be in integer character and size is 4 digits. We can enter up to 4 digits and it should not be null. Like we should not left rule number empty. And auto increment. Auto increment, for example, if I enter rule number like 1121, next time it will be auto incremented like 1112, 1113, like that. The meaning of this auto increment is, we are incrementing value by 1. Write this command, name variable character 50 not null. After that, write address, phone number, and at last write primary key rule number. The meaning of this is, I am setting this rule number as primary key. Name variable character 50 mean the size of this name should be up to 50. We cannot write more than 50 letters inside this name. And similarly, size of address is 50 and the size of phone number is 15. We cannot enter more than 15 in phone number. By writing above command in MySQL, output looks like this. Inside student database, I am creating table called student table. The name of this table is student table. Student table contains name, address, phone number and rule number. And I'm giving this rule number as primary key. This is output of the above command. This is step 1. In step 1, we created table, and next one is step 2. In step 2, we need to establish connection between this Jsp and MySQL database. In order to establish connection between Jsp and MySQL, we need one driver called Jdbc Driver. We need Java Database Connectivity Driver in order to establish connection between Jsp and MySQL. You can download Jdbc Driver from this website, www.mysql.com. From this website, you need to download this Jdbc driver. After downloading Jdbc driver, we also call this Jdbc driver as Jdbc connector. After downloading Jdbc connector from this website, open Jdbc connector. Inside Jdbc connector, you will see one file. Inside Jdbc connector folder, you will see one jar file. That jar file name is MySQL connector Java bin. This is jar file which you will see inside Jdbc connector. Copy this jar file and paste it in this location. Open local disk C. Inside local disk C, you will see one folder called your Tomcat directory folder. Open this your Tomcat directory folder. Inside your Tomcat directory folder, you will see another folder called common. Open this common folder, and inside common folder you will see another folder, that name is lib, library folder. Now you need to copy this jar file inside this library folder. After copying jar file into library folder, you need to set class path. In order to set class path, open control panel, and after opening control panel, go to system properties. Inside system properties, you will see environmental variables. Open this and click on set path. After clicking on set path, you will see display like this. Here you need to click on OK. After clicking on OK, you can establish connection between Jsp and MySQL. This is how you can set connection between database and Jsp. This is step 2. Next topic is using beans in Jsp. As we know, in Jsp we can separate presentation logic and business logic. We can separate this presentation logic and business logic by using these beans. These beans are reusable components. We can also call these beans as Java bean because it is written by using Java language. These beans are used in Jsp as instance of class. So we need to specify scope of bean in Jsp. These are various kinds of scope. First one is page scope, second one is request scope, third one is session scope, and fourth one is application scope. At first, page scope. This page scope is default scope. Whenever we close our current page, then bean objects get disappear in page scope. And next one is request scope. In request scope, bean objects remains as long as request object is present. And next third one is session scope. Whenever user open browser, from that time to till user close browser, bean objects are present in session scope. This application scope is broadcast scope. So we should not use application scope all the time. Whenever it is necessary, only at that time we need to use this application scope. This is structure of various kinds of scopes. Whenever client send request to JSP page, then JSP page will provide response. Similarly, whenever client send request, if this JSP page cannot handle this request, then it will forward this request to another page. So another page will give response to the client. Similarly, whenever client send request, if this JSP page cannot handle this request, then it will forward this request to another page. Then another page will provide response. This one is known as page scope. Whenever client send request, then this JSP page will provide response. This is known as page scope. Whenever client send request, then forwarding this request to another page is known as request scope. Request scope means one JSP page forwarding request to another JSP page. And similarly, this entire process is known as session scope if there is only single user. And if there are multiple users, then this entire process is known as application scope. Next, components of JSP bin. There are three components of JSP bin. First one is Jsp use bin. Next one is Jsp set property, and at last third one is Jsp get property. First one is Jsp use bin. This Jsp use bin is reusable software component and it is used to specify scope of bin. This is definition of Jsp use bin. And next one, Jsp set property. This Jsp set property is action tag. We call this as action tag. It is used to set property. It is used to set values to bin class properties. This is definition of set bin. And we need to use this Jsp set bin inside Jsp use bin. Third one is Jsp get property, where this Jsp set property is used to set values to bin class property, whereas this Jsp get property is used to read values of bin class property. And whereas this Jsp set property is written inside Jsp bin, whereas Jsp get property is written outside Jsp bin. These are the three components in Jsp bin. Topic is Jsp Directories. These Jsp Directories are messages that are used by web container in order to translate Jsp page into Servlet. In order to translate Jsp page into Servlet, we use Jsp Directories, and these Jsp Directories are used by web container. Jsp Directories are classified into three types. First one is page directive, next one is include directive, and third one is Taglib directive. This is syntax of Jsp directive: open bracket percentage at the rate directive attribute equal to value, and similarly percentage closed bracket. This is syntax of Jsp directive. At first we will discuss page directive. This is syntax of Jsp page directive: open bracket percentage at the rate page attribute equal to value, next percentage closed bracket. This is syntax of Jsp page directive. You can identify here, this is page, so it is page directive. And attributes, there are so many attributes in page directive. They are, first one, import, content type, extends, information, buffer, language, session. All these are attributes of Jsp directive, Jsp page directive. I will give example for all this. This is example of import attribute. Here open bracket percentage at the rate page import equal to java.util.data. This is import attribute. This is example of import attribute. Similarly, content type equal to application or word. This is example of content type attribute. The meaning of this is I am using content type which is in the form of application or MS Word. This is format. Similarly, in this example, I am using attribute as information. So open bracket at the rate page information equal to composed by Nagendra. This is information. Anything you can write inside this. For example, you can also write like this. It is developed by Nagendra. You can also write like this. And similarly, buffer. Buffer equal to 16 KB. This is size of buffer. These are examples of page directive, and next we will discuss include directive. If you want to include any content or any resources, we need to use include directive. These are the examples. This is example of include directive. This is syntax of include directive. In previous we used page because there we are using page directive. Similarly here we need to use include because we are using include directive. File equal to resource name. This is syntax of JSP include directive, and this is example. Include file equal to soy.html. The meaning of this is we are including soy.html file inside this JSP. This is example of JSP include directive. And next one is JSP Tag Library Directive. By using JSP Tag Library Directive, we can define many tags. This is syntax: open bracket %@ tag library URI equal to URI of tag library, and similarly prefix equal to prefix of tab library. This is example: open bracket %@ tag library URI equal to, here we need to paste our website link, and similarly prefix is my tag. This is prefix. We need to include both URI and prefix in JSP Tag Library Directive. These are the three directives in JSP. And definitely we need to include @ symbol for directives. Next, anatomy of JSP. We also call this as components of JSP. This is one of the important topic in JSP. We can build JSP by using these components such as scriptlet tag, expression tags, declaration tags, action tags, custom tags, and directives. As we already discussed directives, now we will discuss this. This scriptlet tag, expression tag, and declaration tags together known as scriptlet elements. If you get scriptlet elements question in exam, then you need to write these three. These scriptlet elements provide ability to insert Java code in JSP. By using these scriptlet elements, we can insert Java code inside JSP. Now I will explain each and every one in detail. First one is scriptlet tag. By using scriptlet tag, we can insert Java code in JSP. This is definition of scriptlet tag. By using this scriptlet tag, we can insert Java code in JSP, and this is syntax: open bracket % Java source code % closed bracket. This is syntax of scriptlet tag, and this is example. I written HTML. Inside HTML, I opened body tag, and inside body, I written Java code as open bracket % out.print JSP is equal to HTML and Java. This is string which I have written inside this, and where this out.print is Java code that is used to generate output. So output is JSP is equal to HTML and Java. This is output. Next one is expression tag. We use this expression tag in order to generate output as response. This is syntax: open bracket % equal to. For expression tag, we use equal to symbol here, equal to statement, and then % closed bracket. This is syntax of expression tag, and this is example which I have written here. HTML, inside HTML I written body tag, inside body I written open bracket % equal to welcome to JSP. This is statement which I have written inside this. So output is welcome to JSP. This is output, and where equal to defines expression tag. And third one is declaration tag. In order to declare fields and methods, we use this declaration tag. This is syntax of declaration tag: open bracket %! Whereas in scriptlet we used %, and whereas in expression we used % equal to, and whereas in declaration we need to use %! Where exclamatory mark defines declaration tag. This is example. I opened HTML tag. Inside HTML tag I written body tag. Inside body tag open bracket %! and I given int data equal to 50 semicolon % closed bracket. This is declaration tag which I have given. And similarly open bracket % equal to value of variable is plus data. So output is value of variable is data. What is data? I given data as 50. So output is 50. value of variable is 50. This is output, where this one is declaration tag and this one is expression tag, and we call this scriptlet tag, expression tag, declaration tag as scriptlet elements. If you get a question like explain scriptlet elements in exam, you need to write these three. Friends, I have uploaded complete web technology tutorials. I will provide link in description. You can watch from there.